Welcome to this episode of the Sneaker Principle Podcast. I want to share with you 5 reasons that I love where we're moving with artificial intelligence as part of our operational elevation within the school. Specifically speaking about observations. So classroom observations are the cornerstone of what we do as school leaders, as far as being able to go to a classroom and be able to provide teachers with support with probably the most important part of what we do in schools, the transfer of knowledge from teachers to students, basically teaching. And over the course of the history of doing this work, we know as leaders, school leaders, principals, assistant principals, in some localities, it might be the department heads, anyone who is charged with providing evaluation and feedback of instruction. We know how much time it consumes. We also know how much one little thing, one little distraction, one little crisis can literally topple like dominoes your intentions for teacher support and supervision. I remember the first time I sat in front of ChatGPT, and I was just like, I spent hours just trying different things, asking it questions, try do this for me, do that. Take this thought process. I would scan my notes and say, take these intelligible notes and make sense of it. And it would provide outcomes and organize my scribbles and my thoughts. And I thought to myself, can I use this to aid in my efficiency in providing feedback in classrooms? All my notes, my scribbles and my voice notes and my diagrams and my drawings, I'm a divergent. I think they call us neurodivergent. I'm one of those people where I don't see things in a straight line. I pull different things and my notes look like hieroglyphics at on one end of the paper, and the other side looks like bullet points that looks like a very distinct narrative. This is the way I think. And I started playing with ChatGPT. I taught it, at least from my perspective, I taught my conversation with ChatGPT to analyze Danielson frameworks, the 8 components that we are here in New York City that we use to rate teachers in classrooms. And I said, now create a rubric that we can use, myself and ChatGPT, to take my low inference notes and convert them into feedback, into an image of what transpired in the classroom, then from which we can assess the teaching and provide feedback for improvement. And there were multiple layers that I would go through, combining voice recordings and images of my notes and my manual entry and put all those things together. And it was fun. And for me, the best part, it made a daunting task of me trying to remember and process my thoughts into something I could give a teacher and believe that the teacher can actually use. As an assistant principal, as a principal, many times I found myself losing track of time. I'm trying to get into a classroom for observation. I don't quite make it there because something happens. Or I'm in the middle of observation. I get pulled out because it's a crisis. Or I've done the observations. I've done several of them, but I'm not able to get to them in the same amount of time needed to be, not the same, but in the proper amount of time to be able to give feedback to the teacher in a timely manner. Even the day of, like, hey, it was great getting to you. I've had days where things would happen and I've been like, oh my God, it's already 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. I'm still in the building. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I'm hungry. And I have 5 observation, at least initial feedback to provide. And the body can only do what the body can do. The mind can only do what the mind can do, especially when faced with exhaustion. But using AI allowed me to say, hey, as I'm putting my notes together, move out the classroom, I take a picture of my notes. Hey, what is this? In accordance to the conversation instructions I've given you around, what I want to be able to provide teachers with observation, with my observation feedback. And it would give me a report. I could do a quick edit and send it out, and giving myself enough time to go back and now do the full report. It was like magic. But then, when I came across the tool, Observe AI, I think, and I'm sure it's not the only one, but it's the one I came across, which allowed me to sit in a classroom and take notes that are time-stamped and really forced me to just focus on catching detailed low infants data. When I walked into the classroom, what are the kids doing? What is student A doing, student B doing? What did the teacher say? What did the teacher respond? And have just time notes. When did this activity start? When did the activity end? Without me having to say it, it's just time stamped and just typing away, catching what's around me. In some instances, catching voice recordings of what's happening in the classroom and having that data point, being able to take pictures of lesson plans and have all these data points thrown in to one space that allows for that information to be used to create a picture of what was happening in the classroom in alignment with Danielson's framework. Being able to walk out of the classroom as I'm walking out on my iPad or on my laptop, say generate report. Me walking down the hallway, reading that report and saying, okay, change this, change that, edit that, add this, and be able to say, let me send a quick email based on this foundational initial viewpoint of what I saw in the classroom in the form of glows and grows, and thanking the teacher for their allowance of my visit to their classroom. And I always do that. I always tell teachers, thank you for letting me come to your classroom. Because again, it's their classroom. And at no point in time do I ever try to pull an ego trip and say, it's my school. No, it's your classroom. So I do that, send it to them. And I'm often excited to let me finish this report, because even if I get pulled away, I can come back and not forget where I was, because it's all there in digital format. What happened, and I can say, hey, where did I leave off? What do I need to do here? And then be able to send them a report that's super detailed with next steps, in alignment with the language of Danielson. And anything I don't like in, I can shift around or add, change the tone. Then provide that feedback, typically the same day. Worst case scenario, the next morning. And what has come out of it? I've had teachers actually reach out to me the day of them receiving the report and say, hey, can we sit down and talk? Thank you so much for this. This was very detailed and this is very actionable. I have a few questions here about the process, the procedures, the logistics of how I can tweak things to make it better. One of the things that I hated as a teacher was getting that report 2-3 weeks later. And by that time, I didn't remember what happened in that classroom. There was so much going on. So being able to get something the day of, as I'm reading it, I can reflect and say, yeah, that did happen. Oh yeah, I remember with that part. I was concerned about that. Oh, I was so excited because I felt that went well, as is stated in this. Oh my God, I didn't realize that was actually a good thing because I was nervous that I messed up over here or messed up over there. Like that, even being able to have that conversation, verbally one to one with me or with that teacher, or able to have that internal conversation is such a powerful thing in the time frame that is near to the occurrence, to the observation, to that classroom visit versus down the road. I love the ability that we have right now, the superpower, to harness technology in ways that allows us to be more efficient, more to the point. And I'll tell you this, the biggest part of this is the elimination of bias. Listen, we can't help it. We're human beings. You walk into a classroom, you're in a bad mood, and guess what? It reflects itself in your report. You walk into a classroom and you're exhausted, and your brain is dragging. It literally, or you're right, composing a report, it literally reflects itself in that report. But being able to go in there and just say, listen, I'm just going to collect non-biased data. I'm just going to get low inference. What am I seeing? And that's it. Check my feelings. What am I seeing in the classroom? What am I hearing? What is occurring? What's the pacing? What are the details of this environment in this 15-minute, 45-minute time frame? And using AI to process that data, those data points, in through the Danielson Framework or whatever framework you use in your district to produce a report that is non-judgmental, that is not subjective, that is not, I'm sorry, and it's really objective and as much as possible free of bias. What you feel about that teacher doesn't matter. What you feel about that student doesn't matter. Was the work actually happening in the way it was supposed to happen to move instruction forward? That's the beauty. That's the beauty of using a tool, using artificial intelligence, whether you're processing through a multi-step process with ChatGPT or Gemini or Perplexity or whatever tool that you're using, or using something like Observe AI that allows you to just have all those steps already built into its platform, and then only that, you're able to go back and read and say, is this what my intention was? Is this in alignment with what the feedback I wanted to give the teacher? It's such a powerful tool. I wanted to share this because, we're all in that season right now. We're doing observations. I have some of my staff members who are doing internships, leadership internships, and they're practicing the process of doing observations. And I'm sharing with them, the new tools that are out here, a new way of looking at things, and allowing them to not have to go through what I went through, even though it's very important. Learn how to do things the manual way, because when you move into using technology such as AI, you're even better because you know exactly what this is supposed to look like. You know exactly how to give good feedback, but now you have a tool that makes you even better. All right, y'all. Uche and Joku, Sneaker Principal. Till next time, be well.